pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call this meeting, West Bergen City Council, to order. Roll call, please.
Crowner.
Here.
Raleigh.
Here.
Stewart. Here. Lees.
Here.
West.
Here.
Need to perfect and approve the agenda.
Moved. Support.
There's a motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Stewart.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Carried. Consent agenda.
Motion to approve is presented.
Support.
Motion with support to approve consent agenda items 1 through 8, which are the minutes of regular city council meeting on February 20th, 2013. Payment to Quad City Analytical, payment to Mississippi Valley Pump, payment to Center State International, payment to Magnificent Events, approve a taxi permit renewal for Yellow Cab Company, and approve the clerk's monthly financial report for January 2013, and approve the claims list as presented in the amount of $150,968.82. That breaks down to the general fund of $64,753.96, road use tax, $5,951.68, tax increment financing, $2,003.87, LMI set aside, $34,353, equipment replacement water, $254.44, equipment replacement administration, $254.43, and equipment replacement sewer, $254.43. Water, $12,047.86, sewer, $24,849.93, risk management self-insurance, $2,832.52, flex account, $1,862.70, and the 4th of July celebration, $1,550. Any discussion? Roll call.
Stewart. Aye. Lees.
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Motion carried. Committee reports, finance, Rod Gagnon.
I don't think I have anything new. Obviously, we got a lot of finance things on the agenda this evening, but I don't have anything new.
Do I have anything for finance? Streets. Rick?
Randy will probably have, but nice job on the streets and everything. And when I
Thanks.
drive around and tell the guys they did a good job, and you can go ahead and.
At the next council meeting, I'll have, have a memo on, getting the cameras and the work done at, the intersection of Agency and Gear to put the cameras up there. I just got a fax just a few minutes ago at the shop. I haven't had time to put all the numbers together, but we should be real close on what we had budgeted and talked about before, so we're still moving on that. We're gonna start patching, doing a little patching tomorrow and probably Friday on the streets, trying to get the worst potholes. And I know people are starting to be a little discouraged with their alleys, but it's gotta dry up, and as soon as it does, we'll take care of those, so that's all I have.
Okay. Anything else for streets?
What about the lights out here at the mall? Those flashing red ones?
Not sure why
Again.
that happened.
Yeah.
It happened during one of the snowstorms, and Dick Palmer was out of town. And I talked to Dick over the weekend. He's back in town, and I told him to wait till it gets a little bit nicer, and I'll have him take a look at it. I have a bad feeling that we probably have a broken loop out there with the asphalt. Don't know for sure, but sometimes I think it works better when they're flashing than when they're actually cycling. So, but I have talked to Dick, and hopefully next week we'll start taking a look at that.
Okay.
Okay. Public safety, Trace?
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything to report.
Wow.
Whoa.
Mike, you got anything to report?
Must be nice. Klein Center, the final federal inspection is set up for Friday, the 8th. I've been working off and on throughout the last couple of weeks to get the city side of it completed. The mayor accompanied me one day out there, and we looked at rooms and everything else that we needed to look at, and we'll finish up Friday. Hopefully I can give them an occupancy license at that point. Tender top, exterior siding's being installed, and they're doing the prep work for the brickwork out there. Deary Brothers HVAC, interior walls, electrical and plumbing, and fire protection is being installed in the showroom area. And the final interior floor concrete portion was poured last Friday. Ortho and rehab offices, treatment areas, the work continues in there. They're putting walls up. They're framing. HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and fire protection's being installed in that. The middle corridor, the atrium area is still a wind tunnel, very cold, and they're not doing much in that until the weather changes. We're also doing liquor license inspections, and ordinance violations are starting to increase. On the fire side, we did receive 3 portable radios from Vertex based on our complaints with them, and 3 microphones. We in return sent 3 bad radios in and 3 microphones. Happy to report that the 3 radios that have been issued have had great success so far. And I'm now working with Vertex to replace all of our portables to the new technology that they sent us, and then we're going to start off on the mobile radios with the issues with them. Explorer Post, their first fundraiser is March 13th at Mazzio's over the dinner hour. Looking to draw some money on helping the Explorers keep moving forward. The association's working on the 4th of July pancake breakfast already. They're taking in donations and getting things lined up as far as the needs they have for that particular day and meal. Under the SAFER grant, we've got 5 new hires in place. Their certification testing has started. We have 4 new ones in the hiring process. They have cleared the background checks, which will, if we get those 4 on with monies available on the 2011 SAFER, will take us to 35 members. And from what I gathered and what I've talked to the people, the fire department maximum has only been 38. And I think we can top the 41, which is our allotted number through next year. We'll probably lose a few, but I think we can. My goal is to max it out, and we're well on our way with 9 new people this year. Last thing I got was Congressman Dave Losack called me this afternoon and told me that we were awarded the 2012 SAFER grant. His thing was that we lost $30,000 in it, and I think it's probably from the sequester. The grant was for $110,000 for 4 years, and we got $80,150 for 4 years. There's no pay involved for any of the members. This is the SAFER grant that the city administrator and the mayor had gone through and edited before we submitted it, and it basically covers the training room, the HVAC the first year, some new computers and software. It helps the Explorer Post. It deals with training, the specialty classes for officer development, truck company, RIT team, and hazmat. And it also gives us some office supply equipment upgrades. And again, there's no cost to the city. And the second portion of the grant was for the inspector, the 40-hour-a-week inspector, which was denied by FEMA. According to Loebsack's office, they said that because of the full-time hiring from the big cities that took $2 to $8 million at a whack, there was no funding for it. They ran out of funding because they were trying to keep the full-time firefighters either hired or new hirees or whatever for other bigger departments. So there was just not enough money in the coffer for it. So the smaller departments lost out on their funding. But that's all I have. I will put the press release in your boxes tomorrow. I just got it from Jared this afternoon late, and I'll run copies and throw it in your box so at least you'll have the press release from him. So.
Mike, is the 4 gentlemen, are they local or close?
Yeah, they're local.
Okay.
They're just in different phases. A couple of them have to go get physicals. The other two, they have to go through their testing process and that
In
kind
the
of
living
thing.
area?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. One of them was a firefighter here not too long ago that resigned
Okay,
right after I came, but now wants to come back. So,
good.
he was good help, and we'll take him with open arms.
That $80,000 grant, it sounds like that's basically money we don't have to spend out of the city budget.
Right.
HVAC.
HVAC was the big one we put in for, and we put 10 grand in for it the first year, based on, a year and a half ago, I had 6,000 in for the HVAC for that room, and they laughed at me when I got the bids. So we upped it to 10 grand, and hopefully that will cover it 100%.
So you
the
dropped
one
from
room.
123 down to 80 now?
Do what?
Next year, you drop from 123 to 80?
110.
We asked for 110 over 4 years, and they came out with 80,150 for 4
Dropped.
years. So we lost 30 grand.
All right.
But at least we're 80 grand to the plus at no cost to the taxpayers. And there's no payroll, there's no fees to it. It's all for basically the station and the guys and women that service and those kind of things. It's more of a recruitment. It's more retention than it is recruitment.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay. Anybody have anything for
Just a
public
couple of
safety?
quick things. First of all, congratulations on that, Mike. That sounds like a pretty good deal. Second of all, the Explorer post. Should we be looking at them being able to maybe do some other kind of a fundraiser at the 4th of July, other than the pancake breakfast, that separate group could maybe do something else to?
Sure.
Since I hear you
Or
talking
do
about having a
something- yeah.
fundraiser for them.
Right, right. Oh, absolutely. They have to do a couple fundraisers a year anyway. And right now, they're not being supported by our budget at all until July.
Okay.
And so they're wanting to get some more funds in, so.
Okay. Well, as we move forward, we need to talk about that maybe and think
Yeah.
about if there isn't
Oh, absolutely.
something else they could do during the
Yeah,
4th of
and
July.
out of this new SAFER grant, they're gonna get funding for their post too, on top of
Yeah.
that. But yes, absolutely, they have to do a couple a year anyway.
Okay, thanks. That's all, Mayor.
Okay. Utilities, yeah?
I don't have anything. Randy?
The only thing I have is tomorrow I'll be meeting with Dave Stocklosser from Snyder, the architect, the electrical engineer, and mechanical engineer, and we've got a long meeting scheduled tomorrow on the Public Works building. Hopefully when we come out of there, we'll have a lot of questions answered, and very impressed with how everything's moving along, so.
What
That's-
time's that start? I'm sorry.
11:45.
Anybody have anything for utilities? Sanitation.
I don't have anything. Randy?
No, I don't have anything tonight.
Anybody? There's staff report. Kelly, got anything? Leslie? All righty. Anyone wishing to address the council on matters that are not on the agenda tonight, please rise and step forward.
From the large crowd that's attended this
Large
evening.
crowd. All right, we'll go to public hearing. I'll open the public hearing on the proposed budget for fiscal year 2013, 2014. Did we receive any written comments?
No.
Is there anyone in the audience wishing to make a comment? Nobody jumping to the microphone? I guess Leslie's prepared a PowerPoint presentation, again, like she has in the last few years, which is kind of very helpful. And we'll go through it. Man, you want to dim the lights just a second? Yeah, that's good. I can see it now. First, well, page 2 is the property taxes. As you can see, taxable valuations on the top line. Regular is, there's a slight increase of about $3 million over last year's, and TIF is also about $1 million increase, and ag land has gone up a little bit compared to this year. And you can look across and see, I don't know if this pointer works. Oh, yeah. Hey, we're really, you can go across the top line and see how taxable valuation has gone up since 2009, 2010. Same thing with the second line. The TIF has continued to rise. Ag land is seeing a decrease because there's a rollback on ag land now. Ag land used to be at about, was very low, and it was equalized here a few years ago, so the legislature gave it a rollback also. You can also see we reduced the TIF taxable valuations for the following years from 2009-10 to this year. The TIF value, what we've returned in TIF taxable valuations is 13 million, a little over 12 million, a little over 15 million, a little over 12 million, and not quite 10 million for this coming year. What the reduction allows the regular taxable valuations to increase for the city and other tax-supported entities, which is the school and the county and the college, and releasing that $9.785766 million in TIF valuations results in increasing the revenues in the city general fund by $95,901. Next slide is property tax dollars, which of course is the city's largest source of funds for our general government operation. The city is going to receive $1,036,671 in property tax dollars. That's an increase of $41,975 from the amount that we budgeted to receive in fiscal year 12-13. And that's due mainly to the rollback and the TIF amount requested declined. The state limits, of course, our amount in the general fund levy to $8.10 per $1,000 of taxable value. Additional levies that we have, which are outside the 810 limit, are the liability, property, and self-insurance costs, which is just a little over 19 cents per thousand. FICAs and IPERs, which is just a little over 73 cents per thousand, and other employee benefits are 77 cents per thousand, which gives a total tax rate for this year of $9.80. This next slide kind of shows how your property taxes are calculated. You start with the assessed property values, then apply the rollback to get the taxable valuation. So residential property, the example is if you had a $100,000 house, take it times the rollback, which the rollback for this next year is going to be 52.8116%. So your taxable value of a $100,000 house, what you're going to be taxes on, is $52,812. Take your taxable value of the $52,812 times the levy rate of $9.80 and divide it by 1,000, and you come up with your property tax for the city of $518. Now that's just the city property tax. Of course, you got to add in the school and the county and the college and assessor and a couple other smaller ones.
Mayor, can I stop and ask a question here? Leslie, I need some help with the math. Last year, the rollback was 50.75.
That's what there's another slide that'll show
Oh,
that.
is that coming up in here yet?
Yeah,
Since I was just handed this, I haven't looked ahead.
there's another slide that'll go to that, Dan.
Just one other comment, and you mentioned this, our tax rate being almost $10 a thousand, isn't the total county-wide for our town around 40?
41 something. That'll show up in the slide here too.
Okay, sorry.
So the next slide kind of tells you that it's very hard to see on the screen there, but in Iowa, there's 328 cities that have a lower tax rate and 612 cities with a higher tax rate for fiscal year 12-13. But out of 25 cities that are in the 2,500 to 3,500 population range, only 3 have lower tax rates and 21 are higher. And they range from $7.90 per thousand to $21 and a little bit over 22 cents per thousand, with an average tax rate of $14,034 compared to our levy rate of $980. The next slide kind of addresses, you'll see the rollback, where in 2002 and 3, of the rollback was 51.66, 76%. So a $100,000 house at that time, you were paying taxes on $51,668. Our levy rate at that time was $10.22, which made up, which was your city taxes for that year were $528. A yearly difference compared to what it is now.
That was a yearly difference from the year before.
From the year before.
It's 1072, the tax rate.
The year before was 1072. And you can go on down for each year, down to where we're at 1213. As you can see, the rollback went down from 02, 03 to 10, 11, and then 11, 12, it started climbing back up again, and 12, 13, and 13, 14, to where the rollback the last 3 years now has been increased. As you can see, though, in 02, 03, your city taxes were $528, figuring the rollback on this coming year with the levy at $980, you're still only going to pay $518. So you're still paying less this coming year if this stays as is than you were 10 years ago.
Very commendable numbers, by the way.
Next slide is commercial property. Kind of shows you what commercial property has done in the last 11 years. Take $1 million of assessed value. A few years in there, they actually had a rollback, not very big, but the majority of the time it's been at 100%. So if you had a building that was worth $1 million in 2002, 2003, and you had a 97.77% rollback, your taxes at the city rate at $10.22 per thousand, you paid $9,992. Projected for 13-14, you have that same building at $1 million. Now at 100%, taxable value would be $1 million. At 980, you're paying $9,800, and you can see it's almost $200 less than what you were paying 10 years ago for commercial and industrial property. The next slide kind of shows property tax history for the city of West Burlington for $1,000 assessed valuation, and this is where it shows the total levies, Dan. Fiscal year 2002, 2003, the school district levy was $16.52. City of West Burlington levy was $10.22. The county levy was $7.81. Community college was $1.08, and assessors is in there also to bring the total levy to $35.64. And you can see the portion that went to the school in 2002, 2003 was 46, a little over, almost 46.5%, and the city got not quite 29%. Going down through those years, you can see the school's portion has increased each year, while the city's portion has pretty much decreased each year compared to the levies, where the 2012-13 total levy is $41.45 per thousand. Next slide shows you kind of what the West City West Burlington levy rates have done. Going back to 1994-95, At that time, the levy was $11.30 per thousand, to where coming to $13.14, you can see over about 7 years, it consistently dropped, and it stayed the same for about 3, then went up for a couple, stayed the same for about 3, and has stayed the same for the last 3. The levy's gone from $11.30 in 94-95 to $9.80 in 12-13. Next slide shows you what the rollback is on from 94-95 through 13-14. Back in 94-95, we had a rollback of 68, a little over 68%. Ag was paying 100%, commercial was paying 100%, and industrial was paying 100%. And over the years, that rollback up until fiscal years 11-12, steadily declined to where it hit a low of 45, actually 44.08% in 08-09, and since then it's seen a slight increase each year, with ag showing a substantial decrease in a rollback because of the equalization. We don't want them farmers to pay anything extra.
Careful.
Residential rollback, well, it should be mentioned that the rollback is tied into the productivity of the ground and not the actual value of the ground. I mean, if they had to pay the assessed value of $4,000 an acre or higher, they'd be screaming.
Fix the state's tax problems, though.
Yeah, it would solve them. The next graph is the residential rollback graph. It also shows you that same thing that was kind of shown on the slide before, where back in 94-95, we were in 67%, the rollback was, to 08-09. You're seeing a continuous drop, and then it's starting to go back up. General fund's the chief operating fund for the city, and this supports operations most identified with the city, such as fire and police. The largest revenue received in the general fund is property taxes, and it also receives all their other income that is not required by law or contractual agreement to be deposited elsewhere. And this can include revenue from hotel, motel tax, local option sales tax, licenses and permits, earnings of investments and permits, and intergovernmental revenues. The city has spent down general fund reserves over the last several years, and the chart below illustrates revenues less expenditures for each of the year. So in 07-08, in order to have a balanced general fund, we spent $126,063 out of reserves, and following year 97, 09, 010, 234, 10, 11, 77,000, 11, 12, 261,000, and estimated to spend 12, 13, 284. But that number will probably drop by about anywhere from 80 to 100,000 with the sale of the lots that are projected to be happening over there on the old middle school building. So, and estimated, just as things are going, we're estimating to see another additional $342,625 to be spent down in reserves for fiscal 13-14. And we're also estimating that the general fund is going to have a balance of $349,609 at the end of fiscal 13-14, which that could increase by 80 or 90,000 with the sale of lots, which makes that reserve fund balance be somewhere in between 15 and probably 18% if those lots are included in that. Oops, I better flip that, huh? Road use tax fund comes from vehicle registration fees, motor vehicle fuel taxes, excise tax imposed on rental of automobiles, and a use tax on trailers. and the distribution is based upon the population. We did see a little bit of an increase because our census was changed here in the last couple of months ago to where we received an additional 90-some dollars for 44 additional residents, which the amount estimated by the state for fiscal 13-14 is a distribution rate of $96.50 per capita, but very seldom do they actually give the whole thing. It's somewhere usually in the neighborhood of 3 to 5% less, and we used the $94 for the budget this year. We budgeted to receive $284,231 from the road use taxes, and that amount is $283,121 is from the per capita portion, and $1,100 is from the transfer of jurisdiction from the 406 road. Next slide's kind of a pie slide. It kind of tells you where the revenues come from, the sources of them. And as you can tell, the big one, 60%, is taxes. The dark blue, miscellaneous is 4%. Our fees and service charges are 26%. Intergovernment is 7%. Use of money and property is 1%. And licensings and permits that we issue is 2%. Kind of breaks down the revenue. Then the next slide is the tax revenue breakdown. We receive 60% of that revenue that we receive is from taxes, and the breakdown here shows where the taxes come from. 21% is property tax, hotel motel tax is 1%, road use is 7%, local option sales tax is 12%, and TIF is 59%. And the next slide with the pie chart, it shows expenditures by function, which does not include transfers into those functions. You can tell the largest one, the dark blue, is, or the lighter of the blues, capital projects, $3,581,566. The next largest one is debt service of $1,736,323. Then we'll go general government, $485,000. Community and economic development, $361,000. Culture and recreation, $267,000. Public works, $634,000. And the other bigger one is public safety, $1,453,000. Sewer, $563,000. Water, $895,000. Tells you where the money's going. The payroll, our health insurance costs have increased by just a little over 11% in 2013. We have budgeted an additional 15% increase beginning in January 2014. You don't know what they're doing. It could be 15, it could be 0, which I doubt. It could be 30, so stuck 15 in there. And our employer share of IPERS has also changed. For next year, we're going to go from 8.67% to 8.93% for regular employees, and 10.27% to, is it actually dropping
Yeah,
yet?
it's dropped a little bit. That gets an actuarial review every year, and
Okay.
most years it goes up, but once in a while it'll go down.
And for police and fire, it's actually going to drop from 10.27 to 10.14. We budgeted a 2% wage increase for employees, and we've budgeted to expend $1.459614 million for wages for fiscal 13-14. Utilities and water, the water rates budgeted an increase in 5%. The monthly distribution charge right now is $16.43. 5% increase will take that to $17.25. The first 3,000 gallons, that's basically the monthly distribution charge. 3,000 to 1 million gallons at present time is $5.77. It would go to $6.06 per thousand. The next 500,000 gallons is $3.70 a thousand. It would go to $3.89 a thousand. All water users over 1,500,001 gallon are $1.91 a thousand. It would go to $2.01 per thousand. Users of 3,000 gallons of water would see an increase of 82 cents per month, or $9.84 per year. Users of 5,000 gallons of water would see an increase of $1.07 per month, or $16.80 per year. Sewer, garbage, and recycling. Users of 3,000 gallons of water are budgeted to increase of 90 cents a month, or $10.80 per year. Users of 5,000 gallons of water are budgeted to see an increase of $1.50 per month, or $18 per year. Sewer rates are budgeted to increase 30 cents per thousand. The rate is budgeted to be $4.07 per thousand, in addition to a $4 monthly user fee. Sewer capital project charge of $1.50 a month. Users are budgeted to remain the same. Garbage rates presently are $9.45 per month. Rates are budgeted to increase to $9.60 per month. And the present contract expires 6/30/13. And I don't think we've heard back from Levine's, have we? Anything yet, Dan? Recycling fees are budgeted to increase from $3.15 to $3.25 per month, which is a pass-through. Last page shows debt service, city's debt service obligations. We got a 2011 general obligation bond, which matures in 15/16, and it was for streets, storm sewer, and the rescue fire truck. The amount of issue was for $2,400,000 for the streets and the storm sewer, and $300,000 for the rescue fire vehicle. So it was about $2.7 million. The source of the repayment is going to be from tax increment financing and local option sales tax. We pay a principal of $470,000 on the sewer and $30,000 on the fire truck. So interest payments, you can add those two together, about $43,000. Paid $500 in fee. Total payment is $506,000 plus $36,000, about $542,000. 2011 general obligation bond, which matures in 2021, is for the aerial fire truck. The amount of issue was for $750,000. Will be paid for local option sales tax. We pay a principal of $70,000 and interest of $17,140, and $500 fee in the amount, so that our payment is $87,640. Another 2011 general obligation bond, maturity of 13/14, which is the pool bond refinancing, in the amount of $1,625,000, paid for through tax increment financing. Principal is $815,000, interest is $8,150, and fees of $500, to a total of $823,650. State revolving fund, general obligation bond, as a water project, amount of $400,000. The maturity date is 2027, 2028. Amount of issue is $400,000. Local option sales tax we use to repay that. Principal $17,000. Interest $9,630. And fees of $803 for a total of $27,433. Another state revolving water revenue bond, maturity at 27/28. It's for a water project in the amount of $330,000. The repayment will be through the water department, which is basically fees. Principal is $16,000, interest $8,860. Fees are $740 for payment scheduled $25,620. We have the F&M bank loan for the Public Works Building. That matures in October, is $250,000. We're gonna roll that into the general obligation bond and use tax increment financing to repay. Principal's $250, interest $5,000, total payment $255,000. And what it doesn't show is the Public Works Building, which we haven't put on there yet, which will be in 3.7, I believe, in that neighborhood. And that's
So,
the slide presentation.
very good. So Leslie, then, this
Hit the lights, Randy.
coming budget year, we're gonna make the last payment on 2 of those things. Is that correct? The pool bond refinancing and the F&M bank loan.
Yes.
So that'd be like that's like $1 million. And that's how come, Mr. Gifford, then, I know you've talked about next year not declaring as much in TIF debt so that you can help the general fund. And that's one of the ways that's happening, right? That's
Right.
going away and,
Trying to keep the TIF debt at $1 million, that's a self-imposed thing to get us, so that 300 and whatever thousand we're spending down will be cut by, we'll have $1 million more to valuation in the general fund.
okay.
That won't take care of all that, but it'll take a big chunk out of it.
Take a big chunk of it, yeah.
Leslie, I really appreciate the work you put into this. Us non-professional finance directors, this really makes it easy for us to understand some complex numbers. Thank you. Very nice.
The finance, the bonding though for the Public Works Building, what's that gonna do? I mean, that's gonna bump it back up again a little bit.
We've got it figured to structure that loan to try to stay close to
Within
$1
the
million.
million? Okay,
We're gonna do interest only for first few years. The numbers worked, we haven't done a final one on it, but the numbers worked when we estimated that, to stay at the $1 million.
Because then in another 2 years, that other one drops off. This other 500 and some $1,000 one drops off in 15, 16,
Yes, yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure by then though, we'll have something else to spend it on. That usually works.
There's that water tower out there threatening.
Yeah, that's coming too. But there's other ways to pay for that.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to make a comment in the public hearing? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Item number 1, under new business, is consider resolution accepting the budget as presented for fiscal year 2013-14.
Mayor, I'm not at all certain how to proceed on this. Do I make a motion and then we discuss it? I want to make a change in the budget. So do I make a motion with that change and then we discuss it and then vote on it?
I suppose that's what you want to do.
Well, everything's in order, but I'd like to reduce that property tax down to $975. So I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
I second it, Dan.
Okay, motion with support. Any discussion?
Most of the times that we come here on Wednesdays, we're just trying to use our common sense and go with what the department heads tell us. We go months at a time with nothing but 5-0 votes, because, you know, it's pretty cut and dry stuff. But once in a while, an issue comes before us that we disagree on. And left to come up here tonight, my wife asked what we were going to do, and I said, I'm not certain. And she gave me that same line that she has 28 years being married to the same person. She's always telling me that I'm often wrong, but I'm never uncertain. But this issue of the property tax, I don't know what that correct number is. But I know 10 years ago, it was at that 975 mark for a couple, 3 years. That, as far as I can tell, is as low as it ever was. And I think it's an admirable goal to try to get us back there. I don't know how much the citizens of West Burlington are paying attention. There's nobody here tonight. But I will feel better if we make an attempt to tell the citizens that we're trying. Just sitting here doing the math on my own taxes, they're just because of the rollback, they're going up $41.45 this year. The fees that we just went over, the garbage, the sewer, all of that is just continuing to add to the cost of living in the city of West Burlington. Over the last 19 years, as Leslie's PowerPoint shows, the good people running the departments, I won't give credit to the city councilmen nearly as much as I will to the people running the departments. They have allowed the city council to lower property tax rates 10 times, keep them the same 8 times, and only raise them once. That's a testament to good people doing good work, and they're to be congratulated for that. I know we civilians sitting up here with the opportunity to vote on this issue, we can only take from our personal experiences and try to bring them to the chambers here. But I know that if Brenda and I get to the end of the month and we still got $100 in our grocery budget, we're going to buy a couple of nice fillets and a bottle of wine and have a good dinner on that last Saturday night of the month. But if we don't have that $100, we're going with that baked macaroni and cheese. And I got to think that the city, that any government is going to operate under that same set of guidelines. If the money's there, we're going to find a way to spend it. If it's not there, it's not there. If things come along that we absolutely have to have, I'm fully confident that, as City Administrator Gifford just said about the water tower, there's always ways. There's always ways. I really want to do this nickel. If nothing else, it's just a statement. $5,000 is what it amounts to, I believe, and that isn't a lot in the big scheme of things. So I'm certain that that's what I want to do. A month ago, I didn't feel that way. 2 weeks ago, I felt the other way. But here we are tonight. This is the time when we're deciding. So I'm making that motion, and I'm going to vote that way.
That's your prerogative.
Yep.
My prerogative is to veto it, which will cost the city an additional $30,000. I'll be very upfront with you. If this doesn't pass on a 5-0 vote, I'll plan on vetoing it. Because I don't think, you're not helping the citizens at all. Because what you're doing is 60% of our taxable valuation comes from commercial and industrial. Only 40% comes from residential. And that 60% pays the majority of the taxes in this town. So you're not really helping the residential. You're giving the commercial and industrial a big break. And they're using our resources all the time.
Two things you just mentioned there, Mayor, that are brand new information to me. That 30,000, what's that?
It's 30,000. If I veto this budget will not go to the state. It's certified, which will means we will only collect what we've collected this year.
Okay, so that.
Well, Dan, I appreciate what you did, and and that's why I second it. And I know that even previous time that I always think that we should give back to the citizens. We always give raises and everything else to everybody else and keep spending, which we all know that the government likes to do, is just spend or find out how we can lose money or spend money. But I appreciate it, and I think citizens would appreciate it. So thank you, Dan.
Well, but that suggests that we're being wasteful with people's money, and I don't think that any of us have ever wanted to be wasteful with anyone's money. I think that everything that we try to do, we try to think through thoroughly and make sure that it's an appropriate expenditure. We're not just sitting up here saying, oh, well, we have this extra money, let's go spend it. We don't do that. And I don't agree with rolling it back because I think that we don't know what the economy is doing lately. We've had so many ups and downs with the economy over these last few years that if we do another rollback, that we may be setting ourselves up for, in another couple of years, having to do an increase. And I really do not want to have to go to people and say, we're going to increase your taxes now.
At the rate we continue to spend our reserves, you're not gonna have any reserves left these days. And then you will be going to the taxpayers for substantial increases.
And we have went to them before with that 25-cent increase, largely due because the rollback dropped so dramatically that we felt we needed to collect more tax money. In this case, the rollback is dramatically increased, but we're taking back very little of that, actually.
But you're still spending an additional X amount of dollars in the tune of $300,000 projected, which, if that was a levy, was a $3 levy that would have to be on the top of this 980 to come up with a balanced budget.
Yeah, and you're correct.
And that's not being fiscally responsible, to continue to spend down, to spend down, to spend down to where you don't have anything left. I mean, is every one of you that are wanting to do this, are you spending your savings accounts down to zero?
Are we not still ending up in the acceptable range given to us by the state or not?
Well, there is no really acceptable range, right? It's, some people say it's 15%,
I'm
some
just
people say it's
asking, I don't know.
25%. Well, with the levy staying at 980, yeah, we'll be at 15%. But just, I mean, just to figure it out, I sat down and figured out my taxes this afternoon. If you really want to make it neutral, you should be dropping the levy 40 cents,
You're right.
not a nickel. So, I mean, really,
That's what matter of fact, I mumbled, Mr. Gifford would tell you, I mumbled him that today because I hadn't put those numbers to pencil until today. And I mumbled it to Dan. I said, am I right here? This seems crazy. But yeah, the actual homeowner, now not the businesses obviously, but the actual homeowner is going to see an increase like we raised the tax levy 40 cents a thousand, which, you know, that was shocking to me. I didn't realize that rollback made that much difference. But it does.
but look at it also.
Right or wrong, I'm just
You're
saying
still,
that's what happened.
They're still paying less, the average homeowner is still paying less this projected year than what he was 10 years ago.
Yep.
And you talked about fees increasing and this increasing and that increasing. The other part of that is our fuel and our inputs are increasing, not just wages. I know everybody likes to throw out that government wages increase, but there's other things that are inputs that we have no control over that increase our expenses, that our prices to do the same business we did last year increase by a certain percentage every year as well. So there's always going to be some increase just to continue offering the same level of service that we did the year before, even without the wages. The wages is a big part of it. That's all, any business's biggest expense is always wages, but
There's also the issue of reclassification of some apartment buildings also.
I can tell you for certain, one of them has been reclassified, which is going to lose about $9,000 in property taxes.
The other two.
And the other two could be, which would give you a total loss of $30,000 in property taxes, loss in property taxes. If the apartments reclassify themselves, may become co-ops, which is they're allowed to do under the state code, they'll be taxed at residential rates. And those three big apartment buildings that we have in town amounts to $30,845 in loss of taxes if that happens.
And we'll know that when that happens?
Well, I found out Tuesday that one of them already did.
Applied, or?
I think they already did. That's what I was told that they did.
I don't know, you probably wouldn't
No, it
notice it
won't,
because
no.
it'll show up in your, as just a lower assessed taxable value.
And my thought, I guess, also was that with taxes being paid in arrears, we would be 1 or 2 years out in seeing that actual reduction, correct?
No, that would happen right away.
Would? But you pay your taxes in arrears, a whole year in arrears. So I'm just saying, this
Well,
year,
it would show-
they're paying taxes on last year's rates.
Yeah, but it would show up in September.
Okay.
So the property taxes that we collect or or send to us from the auditor come in September and March, and that would already show up in September.
Yeah, if it's gonna show up in September, it's already built into our
Numbers.
our numbers that we have here.
Yeah.
Because it'd be in
That's
it
my
would be in the taxable value that we got from the county.
Could be.
If it's already done, who knows
If
when.
not done, it's out a whole nother year.
And I don't know